What's up, guys? Coach Adrian here. This is a brute shoot, and today we're gonna discuss why you're moving way too fast in your training. So the topic's gonna be about tempo training, right? A lot of times you guys start your CrossFit career and you go through a foundations class or a foundation experience where you might work one-on-one with a coach. You might be working in a small group. There's a variety of things that you're learning, right? So the process is a bit slower, less on the technical side, or I'm sorry, more on the technical side and less on the intensity side. So you're moving slower, you're moving with more intent. What happens as we develop into a common CrossFitter or a more advanced CrossFitter is we stop focusing on positional work and tempos in our movement. Clearly, most of the workouts that you guys are out there doing are for time. So what's that look like? We want to do the movement as fast as possible so we can have the shortest time as possible, right? That's what we have the understanding of because we're looking to put out maximal power. What does this lead to? This leads to, historically, sometimes a digression in your movement quality and movement patterns. So what can you do as a coach? What can you do as an athlete to help your community basically further their experience and further their technicalities in their lifting? The first thing that I say is add in more slow work and more pause work. This could look like a variety of things. It could look like gymnastics skill-based sessions where there's tempos and pauses added in the top of a ring support or in the bottom of a ring dip. Even in muscle-up transition work, instead of just practicing the transition from a kneeling point with low rings, maybe you do it at a tempo. This allows you to watch, as a coach, every single segment of the lift or the movement take place, and you can use it as an amplified coaching experience. Like, pause here, see where this position looks like, or feel where you're at. You need to be more here. And it gives the athlete direct feedback in the on-time experience or directly and immediately during the movement. Another thing is common weightlifting movements where we're like front squatting, back squatting, overhead squatting. We can even add tempos to our Olympic lifts, right? Slow pulls off the floor where we then execute just a pulling action, a panda pull or a clean pull or a snatch pull, or it could even go into the full lift. So we can add an 8-count tempo pull off the floor into a snatch, right? In our gym, we call them 8-count snatches. It would literally look like you starting to extend the hips off the ground. You have to take close to an 8-count to get the bar to full extension at the hip, and at that point, you rapidly pull under the bar. So we can add in tempos to our pulls. Now, the benefits of this tempos outside of you from a coaching experience and an athlete experience directly is the physiological adaptations that take place. When we think about moving against gravity, right? If we always do it fast, we can still be training musculature and really avoiding the development of connective tissue. So we think about the tendons and ligaments, specifically the tendons that are gonna attach our bone to muscle. We wanna make sure that we're trying to strengthen those as best we can. One way is to do a ton of volume, like higher rep ranges, but another way is to just slow down your tempo. So a value to a tempo squat, for example, is we grab the bar, we're doing back squats, and instead of just doing a traditional 5x5, we may walk in, and as a coach, you address the class and you teach them specifically out the gate, we're gonna go 5x5 today, but we're gonna actually have a 4-count descend, a 2-count bottom in the or 2-count hold in the bottom, the very bottom of your squat, and then we're gonna stand as fast as you'd like or as fast as you can out of the bottom, right? So we're putting an emphasis on the eccentric portion of the lift. You guys could do this with any upper body lift as well. It could vary from bench press to pull-ups to shoulder press, even adding these into push press. Something recently that I'm being programmed for by Nick Fowler as we prepare for the CrossFit Games is a ton of dumbbell work. Clearly we don't know what we're expecting walking into the 2017 CrossFit Games, but making sure that I'm prepared for overhead stability and pause work in case there are double dumbbell overhead squats or something like that. I've been doing a ton of dumbbell push press, double dumbbell push press with a hold at the top, an eccentric count at the bottom, rapid turnaround in the bottom, and back to the top. So the pause is usually about four counts over my head, a 4-count descend, and then you explode out of the bottom, and then you're into your next rep. When you guys program these, sometimes it's best to program in a window. That means you tell your athletes, depending on how you guys respond to the time under stimulus, we want to go from 4 to 6 reps for these amount of sets, right? When you guys do this, a clear teaching point is to make sure that we're clear on how our classes and athletes should be moving with their breathing, right? A lot of people are gonna need to breathe differently in time under tension than they will just moving through a regular set of squats. And then also considering that this is a great chance to help those athletes refine positions. So don't just be okay with watching a squat go down. Really watch the position of their torso. Watch the weight stay in their heels throughout the whole movement. This gives you an opportunity to really take your coaching to a whole nother level while they're actually executing the movement under tension. So what I'm concluding for you guys out there in the world, whether you're the coach, you're the programmer, or you're just the athlete going through it, add more tempo lifts and slow down your training more often.